And a lot of times, like seeing something that's greater can make us really unhappy with what we presently have, or at least unsatisfied with what we have. And so we can say, like, we should be grateful. This is true. We should be grateful. Now, here's a heck of a question. How do you be grateful? You appreciate what you have. How do you do that, though? How do you appreciate something that you have? In other words, I can't tell you how to do it. You have to already feel it. It's like you can't command a person to love you. I don't care how long you have them tied up in that remote tool shed. You can't force them to love you. You can do things to make them hate you, and you can do things that maybe will make them like you, but you can't force a person to love you. It's just like, I can't force you to laugh. You can fake laughter. You can fake love. You can fake gratitude, but to actually feel it for real, so like I can tell you to laugh, but you have to give you a reason to laugh. You have to have a reason to be grateful, and that kind of comes from inside. And so, how is it that you can bring yourself to have that desire to be grateful, to be in love, whatever? I have no idea, man. I have no idea. It's in you. It's either in you or it's not. You can't generate more time, but what you can generate is the fulfillment of desires, or moreover, the satisfaction. Yeah, it's a philosophy, but it deals specifically with the philosophy of like religion. So a theologian is a person, a theos, God, a person who studies the existence of God, argues about religious topics. He's a religious writer, but he also wrote a book that I bet a lot of you have probably heard of before, maybe even have read. Could have seen the movie for The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, the Chronicles of Narnia. Now, he wrote the Chronicles of Narnia. Yeah. And so, if you're a little kid and you saw the movie, or you read the book, if you were to watch it now, you might understand some things about it. The whole thing is a Christian allegory. He's writing about the history of Christianity in that book. But for some reason, I didn't list him as a theologian, and I don't know why. That was a decision that 2024 Scanlon made. Similarly, I don't know why I gave this one. Why? Because this one is very difficult. What you've done with it so far is good, and it's right. It makes sense. There might be something in you that you're reaching for the stars. And as I probably said before, whatever your dreams are in your life, it's not a bad idea to have your reach exceed your grasp. In other words, I might be able to only reach this far. That's as far as I can actually grasp something. But what I'm looking for is something over there by the window, and that's where I'm really going to start to reach myself for. Is it possible that I could reach my ultimate goal of the stars? Yeah, it's possible. Is it likely? No. Is it realistic? Nah, probably not. But is it possible? Yeah. There's a lot more that's possible than we give ourselves credit for. With an asterisk, by the way, because some of us just think like, I'm going to be a professional athlete, but we don't really understand what it takes to do that. Or we want to be a collegiate athlete, but we don't understand what it actually really takes to do that. I mean, I was talking with somebody not too long ago about, I played baseball in college. I played Southwest, that's here. Pasadena, I played at UCLA. And when you play at like a Division I level, it's a job. Everything is scheduled for you. You have to be at the gym at a certain time. You're scheduled for that. You have to be on the field for certain practices at certain times. You schedule all of your classes around being available to play baseball and practice. It isn't fun anymore. It's a job. And in exchange, you get some scholarship money. If you're looking to play professional baseball, though, then that's a really good place to be because you learn a heck of a lot. But man, it changes things dramatically. When you play after that at a professional level, I can't even imagine the stress and difficulty that includes that. I don't remember if it was this class I was talking to, but I was talking to one of my classes about what's his name? I can't remember his first name. Kelsey plays for the Chiefs. He has a girlfriend who's an actress or something. He's a tight end for the Chiefs, and he was talking about like his running in the off season, and I was thinking like, holy crap! Like this guy, his whole life, he has to report like what his body fat percentage is, what his run times are, what he's eating. Everything this guy does is under the microscope because he's playing at a professional level. When you're playing at that level, your body's not really your own anymore. It belongs to the organization. Even like you might think like a baseball player, sometimes they get injured and you're just like they have like a sore shin or an injured shin. You're like, what the hell? Why you can't play with a sore shin? And so they're put on the injured list. It isn't up to them. The organization looks at you and says, you have a sore shin. We're paying you $17 million a year to play baseball. So you know what? We're gonna rest that because it's better for us if you let that thing rest, you sit out for a week, and then you come back next week at 100%. Because if it's hurt right now and then something severe happens, we're out $17 million. So it isn't up to you anymore, it's up to the organization. And so now you start thinking like, is it possible to reach that far? Yeah, man, it's really difficult. It's really difficult. And it's good to know how difficult it is because then you know what to expect as you're approaching that. Whatever your dream is, if your dream is small, like I just want to have a California burrito today, okay, it's a small dream, nothing wrong with that. If your dream is to have a car someday, small dream, not a huge thing like that. But there are certain goals and ambitions that you can have that, I mean, it can't be satisfied by this world. You're thinking of it, and he's talking here specifically about finding a desire in yourself. That there can be something in you that no matter what you experience, it just doesn't satisfy you. You're always looking for more. Skydiving, it's exciting, it's exhilarating. Jump out of a plane. For some reason, we jump out of a perfectly good plane, and we put a backpack on, and we jump out, and we pull the parachute, we land, and afterwards you can sit there and go, nah, but there's still something more. I don't know, that wasn't the thrill I'm looking for. I wonder if there's something else. So you start seeking after desire after desire, and for some reason nothing satisfies you. And now that probably tells you that there's something more to your life than just this physical life. I'm going to talk about that in just a minute because it's outside the scope of what we're doing here, but it's interesting anyway. Now, you could also think about this metaphorically. If there's a desire in you, like for a car, let's say, and then you get the car, but you're like, I don't know, man, still, there's something else. That didn't quite satisfy you. We were talking last period in my class about, I was growing up, I had friends who lived in these really crappy apartment buildings. And outside the crappy apartment buildings, you found a lot of Lexuses, a lot of Mercedeses. Why do you suppose there were so many Lexus, or I guess Lexi, and Mercedeses outside these places? Now, the immediate response is they must have been dealing drugs. No, they weren't. They weren't even that successful. There's something else that's going on there. They're mostly leased. A leased vehicle doesn't cost the same amount as if you buy it. A lease is way less money. What they would do is they would lease these cars because they would get in their car and then they would drive wherever they were driving, and they got to feel for a little while like they were a success. They got to feel like, yeah, everybody, I'm driving it. Now they know they're a fraud, but the people around you, you think don't know that you're a fraud. And so people would see them at a stoplight and they would have that car and they'd be like, wow, that's a nice car. That guy driving it must be successful. They were living off of the opinions of people who never told them their opinions because nobody ever looked at them and said, hey, nice car. In the grand scheme of things, it's just a Lexus. It's just a Mercedes. There are certain Mercedes that are like, and if you're a car person, you know them when you see them, dude. But there were no leased Lamborghinis, no leased Ferraris, nothing like that most people would recognize. It was in their own minds, this desire to get the attention, the appreciation, and the admiration of others, people who they would never talk to, and yet they would feel like, I bet they probably admire me, because they're trying to fulfill a desire, but the desire that they're trying to fulfill is actually the suppression of another one, which is inadequacy. I'm not good enough. I go home to a place I don't like going home to a family I'm not really happy with, and I have to live a life that I'm really not satisfied with. But how would you know that you're not satisfied? Probably because you've seen something else that's greater. And a lot of times, like seeing something that's greater can make us really unhappy with what we presently have, or at least unsatisfied with what we have. And so we can say, like, we should be grateful. This is true. We should be grateful. Now, here's a heck of a question. How do you be grateful? You appreciate what you have. How do you do that, though? How do you appreciate something that you have? In other words, I can't tell you how to do it. You have to already feel it. It's like you can't command a person to love you. I don't care how long you had them tied up in that remote tool shed. You can't force them to love you. All you can do things to make them hate you, and you can do things that maybe will make them like you, but you can't force a person to love you. It's just like, I can't force you to laugh. You can fake laughter. You can fake love. You can fake gratitude. But to actually feel it for real, it has to come from inside. So like I can tell you to laugh, but you have to give you a reason to laugh. We have to have a reason to be grateful, and that kind of comes from inside. And so, how is it that you can bring yourself to have that desire to be grateful, to be in love, whatever? I have no idea, man. I have no idea. It's in you. It's either in you or it's not. And so, how is it that you can satisfy that sense of inadequacy? You know, if you feel the need to show off in front of people, even it's your own expense, because every dollar that you spend putting into that leased Mercedes is a dollar that you're not putting into a dream. It's a dollar that you're not putting into an investment. And I think it was in this class, right? In last class, I was asking that question: what would you do if you had $1 million? Yeah. And if our immediate thing is, I would buy stuff so that I would look, because that would make me feel like I was a winner. Here's the trick to it, though. If you win the lottery, just hear what I'm saying. If you win the lottery and you win $1 million, did you really win anything? I mean, you won, but what did you do? You wrote some numbers on a piece of paper, probably maybe even randomly, maybe because of anniversaries or something like that, and then a random number generator spit out those exact numbers. There was nothing in there where there's no skill involved, there's no sacrifice involved. So you get that money. And so because you get that money, it's kind of like found money, You ever find $20 in your pocket or $5 in your pocket? You have no idea how it got there. Oh, that's right, the last time I wore the jeans. Yesterday, somebody came up to me and gave me $70. And I was looking at it first. I didn't take it. I just kind of looked at it when someone was trying to hand it to me. And I'm like looking at the money, wondering if this is some kind of a puzzle. And the person said, "Well, you lent me $70 a few weeks ago." I'm like, oh crap, you're right. Totally forgot about that. In my mind, the money was gone, spent, whatever. So all of a sudden, the money shows up. It's like, oh, it's found money. So what did I do with that money? Yesterday, when they came by during 6th period and they were trying to sell donuts that were left over from the food fair. They asked me, "Do you want to buy some donuts?" I'm like, "Sure." And I used the money to buy donuts. I didn't even eat any of them. I gave them to the class. I'm not gonna eat. I wasn't gonna eat it. Why was I so frivolous with that money? Because it was found money. I didn't really earn it. I guess I earned it in the first place, but in my mind, it was already gone. If that was money instead that I worked a whole day for, and someone was like, "Here's $70," I probably would have said, "All right, donuts for everybody." Or maybe I would. Maybe that's why I would only have $70 that'd be gone in a day. Maybe that's why that $70 wouldn't become 100, which wouldn't become 1,000, which wouldn't become 1,000,000, which wouldn't become the fulfillment of some grand desire, ambition, or dream, ultimately. Now that's money, sure, but there's also time to consider. The time that you put into something, is it gone or is it invested? Is it completely out there in the universe somewhere, like you never had it in the first place? Or has it been used to build up something that will generate something more for you later on? And you can't generate more time. But what you can generate is the fulfillment of desires. Or moreover, the satisfaction. It's one of those dangers of getting that advice, fake it till you make it. That's terrible advice, man. And I know that as I say that, some of you are thinking, what do you know? There's somebody who I admire a lot who gave me that same advice. Like some YouTuber said, fake it till you make it. And they made it, they're successful. Who are you? Yeah, but here's the problem with faking it till you make it. You're faking it because you want to get the appreciation, you want to get the accolades, you want to get the attention. If you're faking it and you're already getting it, what's the point in making it? You're already getting all the stuff out of all the good stuff out of it with none of the sacrifice. But then, like I said, it's just like when you win the lottery, the money goes away fast because you don't appreciate it because it's found money. And this isn't just me saying this. There's been a lot of research into people who win jackpots in the lottery. When I saw not too long ago, it was something like 85% of the people who win more than $3 million. Think about it, $3 million. 85% of the people who win more than $3 million 5 to 10 years later report being worse off than they were when they won it. In other words, they're less happy now than before they got the money. And why? They don't know what to do with it. They don't know how to use it. They don't know how to grow it. They don't know how to expand it. And then it ends up feeling like a fraud. Because you get the Mercedes, and here's the thing, here's the nefarious thing about it. You might think like if you earn money, people with money will respect you. Guess what? They don't. They don't. Because they know how you got it. They know who you are. They know that you don't come from a line of that. And then when you make a bunch of money, you think your friends who you grew up with are going to respect you all of a sudden because you have money? No, they're going to hate you for being successful or lucky in the case of the lottery. And they're going to have all these great business ideas for you to invest in. And they're going to hit you up for rent money. And they're going to hit you up for cars. And they're going to hit you up for all kinds of stuff. And you aren't going to want to give it to them anymore. And then they're going to be like, man, what the hell is wrong with you? You've changed. And you find yourself in this middle position where the people who have a bunch don't accept you because they know what you are. And the people where you came from don't accept you anymore because they think you've changed. But money doesn't change you. They say that money changes you. It doesn't change you. It just amplifies what you currently are. Are you a selfish prick? Do you give money to homeless people? If you don't give money to homeless people, you have no right to later on say, but if I had 10 million, I would help the poor. Well, you have $10 right now. Why don't you help the poor with $10? Well, I only have $10. I don't have as much as that person who has more than me. Yeah. If you're a person who gives away, if you've got $10 in your pocket and you're that person who's like, oh my God, I got to help the homeless, and you give the homeless person $10, then you walk home because you don't have a bus fare. If you had $10 million, you'd give it all to homeless people and you'd be broke afterwards too. It's only going to amplify who you are. And so, the question is, I guess, ultimately, like with everything else, is who are you? What is that desire that you have inside that you're trying to fulfill? The person who leases the car that's more expensive than their actual means is the desire that they're trying to fulfill is to get respect. And from whom? From strangers, from people who never respect you anyway. And then you're going to end up getting hated by the people who do know you. And so, yeah. I guess maybe one of the possibilities, that last part there, maybe you were made for another world. Maybe you weren't made for this. Maybe you're not of this world. Maybe you belong someplace else. Maybe that's why some people feel like they don't belong, because you don't. Not in this world, generally. Maybe you don't belong in your school. Maybe you don't belong in your peer group. Maybe you don't belong in your family, and you feel like you belong someplace else, or at least not here. And so to find out where you belong, see me in 12th grade. Questions, comments, concerns, complaints, criticisms, critiques? Happy Friday.